Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because honestly, we're shining a spotlight on a hidden battleground. Right now, as you sit comfortably in your house, there is a silent, completely unseen warfare happening inside the very walls of Carmel, Indiana homes. You know, we usually don't think about our pipes until, well, there's water flooding the floor. But what if I told you that a highly localized geographical assault is constantly testing your home's defenses? Today, we're going to map out exactly what's happening behind your drywall and under your floorboards. Okay, let's dive into this. What invisible forces are attacking your home right now? When we think of plumbing issues, we usually picture, I don't know, a kid flushing a toy down the toilet, or maybe just a faucet getting old. But in Carmel, your biggest adversaries are actually the geography and the climate of central Indiana itself. The environment is literally working from the inside out to compromise your pipes, your appliances, and your peace of mind. So let's break down exactly how this environmental warfare happens.
Section 1. Carmel's Hidden Plumbing Threats.
If you really want to understand why the most expensive household disasters happen in this area, you have to look straight at the local environment. It's the root cause of these massive failures. Take hard water, for instance. Hamilton County sits right on top of underground aquifers that tap directly into limestone bedrock. So that water picks up super high concentrations of calcium and magnesium way before it ever reaches your faucets. And this isn't just a minor annoyance, right? It's a silent destroyer. These minerals create really aggressive scaling. They leave those crusty white deposits you constantly see on your shower heads, they clog up your aerators, and worst of all, they relentlessly accumulate as sediment inside your water heater, which drastically reduces its efficiency and its lifespan. But hey, it's not just the water chemistry we're dealing with, it's the weather. In January and February, the dominant threat is sub-zero freeze cycles. Carmel has a lot of rapid expansion homes, with plumbing running right through unconditioned exterior walls and crawlspaces. When the temperature drops, the water expands and those pipes violently rupture. Fast forward to spring, and the threat completely flips. Heavy rainfall combines with Carmel's really dense, shifting clay soil. This creates massive drainage challenges that can instantly overwhelm a sump pump and flood a basement. It truly is a year-round environmental assault.
Section 2. Age, Neighborhoods, and Pipes.
What's really fascinating here is that these environmental threats don't actually attack every house equally. How your home experiences these issues depends entirely on exactly where you live in Carmel and what decade your house was built. And this brilliantly illustrates the neighborhood-by-neighborhood breakdown. Take West Clay, for example. It's newer construction, sure, but because of the rapid development, they deal with homes settling and severe hard water from residential wells. Now compare that to Mohawk Hills. Here you have this mature, gorgeous landscaping, which unfortunately means aggressive tree root infiltration, absolutely crushing older sewer lines. Then you have areas like Brookshire, luxury estates with highly complex plumbing systems that suffer from accelerated fixture wear simply because of the hard water running through those expensive, intricate components.
Now, the timeline here is super important. If you own a Carmel home built in the 1970s or 1980s, you are highly likely living with a ticking time bomb: galvanized steel pipes. Remember that hard water we just talked about? Well, it reacts with that galvanized metal, causing it to literally corrode and rust from the inside out. Actually, it's kind of like a clogged artery. Over the years, the inside of the pipe gets narrower and narrower, choking off your water supply. If you're dealing with chronically low water pressure or occasionally seeing rusty, discolored water, this internal corrosion is exactly why.
Section 3. When systems fail.
Eventually, the environment wins and the hardware just breaks down. Let's focus our attention on arguably the most critical and often most expensive appliance in your entire home: the water heater. So the crucial point is this: 10 to 15, that's it. 10 to 15 years is the absolute maximum lifespan of a traditional tank water heater in this region. Remember that limestone sediment? It all settles at the bottom of the tank, forcing the heater to work harder and harder until the corrosion causes a total, catastrophic failure. Honestly, if your tank is past a decade old, you are living on borrowed time.
But good news, there is an alternative: 20 to 30. Upgrading to a tankless water heater yields a 20 to 30% energy savings on your monthly bills. They're wall-mounted, they give you endless hot water, and they can last up to 20 years. There's a catch, though. Because Carmel's hard water is so aggressive, these high-tech systems absolutely demand strict annual professional descaling to keep those heating elements from burning out. And before a total failure happens, your home will usually try to warn you. One of those signs is the dreaded cold water sandwich effect. I mean, there is absolutely nothing that wakes you up faster than enjoying a nice warm shower, only to be hit by a freezing shock of cold water out of nowhere before it suddenly turns hot again. No way. That, along with smelly, gurgling drains, are your early warning indicators that your system is actively failing and you need to take action pronto.
Section 4. The anatomy of repair.
All right, we've talked plenty about the villains. The hard water, the freezing cold, the dense clay soil. Now let's talk about the heroes and your defensive tactics. How do professional plumbers, like the experts over at Keystone Plumbing, actually tackle these geographical and age-related failures? Well, it all starts with a remarkably simple, stress-free process. Step 1, schedule the service. They prioritize emergency calls like burst pipes, which is huge. Step 2, diagnosis and approval. This is vital. They inspect the root cause, explain it to you without any of that confusing technical jargon, and give you transparent upfront pricing. You know the exact cost before a single wrench is ever turned. And finally, step 3, completion and follow-up. They rigorously test the system to ensure it works perfectly before they ever leave your driveway.
Let's move to and see how this builds when we tackle a truly massive project. I'm talking about completely ripping out those old, rusted 1980s galvanized pipes. This process scales up significantly. Whole home repiping is intense. Replacing all that plumbing with modern copper or PEX takes about 3 to 5 days for a standard 2,000 square foot single-story home. A two-story home, that'll take 5 to 7 days. And a massive luxury estate in a place like Brookshire could take up to 2 full weeks of surgical wall opening, pipe laying, and drywall repair to completely finish. Throughout any of these repairs, professional standards are just completely non-negotiable. Complying with the Indiana Plumbing Code, using lead-free solder on copper joints, pulling the proper Hamilton County permits. Look, these aren't just bureaucratic red tape. They are absolutely essential for public safety, proper function, and honestly protecting your property's resale value. If you try to cut corners without pulling permits, trust me, it will come back to haunt you when it's time to sell your home.
Section 5, protecting your home. So knowledge is power, right? And there are proactive, defensive tactics you can deploy right now to fight back against Carmel's environment. Let's rapid fire through these critical winterizing tips. Remember, January and February bring the highest call volume for burst pipes. First, you must insulate exposed pipes in your crawl spaces and attics. Second, disconnect your outdoor hoses before the first freeze. If you don't, that ice travels right up into the wall. Third, if you travel, never ever set your thermostat below 55 degrees. And during extreme cold snaps, just open your undersink cabinets to let the warm house air circulate around the pipes. And let your faucets drip just a little bit. Moving water is much, much harder to freeze. And what about for those spring rains? We have sump pump defense. Please don't wait for a huge storm to find out your pump is broken. Test it quarterly. Literally just take a bucket of water, pour it directly into the pit, and make sure the float switch moves freely and the pump activates. Plus, you really should be scheduling a professional plumbing inspection every 2 years. That way, you can catch hidden leaks and monitor your water heater before you wake up to a completely flooded basement. All right, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative question. Think about this. Do you know exactly where your main water shutoff valve is right now? If a pipe bursts in your wall tonight, every single second counts. Is it in your basement near the front foundation wall? Is it in the utility room? Is it out by the street in a ground box? Your homework for today is to go find that valve. Give it a quick test turn clockwise just to make sure it isn't seized up. Prepare yourself now before the invisible forces of the environment literally force you to. Thanks so much for joining me today. Stay proactive out there, and I'll catch you on the next one.